telefone. Passa mata cinta puan, ao sol que a cinta puan.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Riverside Theatre's Backstage Chat, where we get to talk to some of the artisans who perform on our stages. Today, we're talking to two great musicians, artisans, bon vivants, Lou Wilkin and Manny Moreira. Welcome, welcome. And we're talking about Beatles and Bossa. Beatles and Bossa is a great production that they have put together, they've created. The merging of Beatles music and Brazilian music that sort of came up at the same time frame. Really became more popular in the same time frame. Beatles and Bossa plays Riverside Theatre on two dates, September 25th and October 9th, and each of those days has two performances, one at 6:30 and 8:30. So welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Let's talk about Beatles and Bossa and sort of your idea of creating of this performance, and why did you want to bring Beatles and Brazilian music out to the spotlight?
Well, I would say the first answer to that is because they're two of my favorite genres. Because I love the Beatles and I love Brazilian music. And so I mentioned it to a friend of mine recently. He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm doing this show, Beatles and Bossa." And he laughed and went, "Of course you are." You know, it's both of your favorite things. So I like a lot of different styles of music. I just have a very, very eclectic musical preference. But these are two of my favorites. And of course, in addition to Norbert Goldberg and Leo Traversa, our drummer and bass player that will be coming down from New York, it's an incredible pleasure to work with Lou Wilkin. Lou is a tremendously talented singer and multi-instrumentalist that is just incredibly inspiring to work with, and a real joy to work together. So she fits in perfectly with this group of guys who have been together for 30 years in every way, both musically and in terms of her talent, and the great energy and spirit that she brings to the music as well.
So we're very excited to have you both on stage. So
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about the show itself. What can people expect when they come and see it? You know, we're selling tickets now, and we've already sold quite a few, so we're excited to have more people come and enjoy it. But what are people going to see and experience when they come and see the show?
So the show is a little bit of a mixture, an amalgam of presentation. So it's sort of a concert, but it's also an experience, multimedia experience. There are projections and the lighting is very important to me. We share a lot of stories as well that sort of propel the concert, if you will. So it's kind of a mixture of a concert and almost a TED Talk.
People are meant to come out for a night and dress up and have an experience and sort of step into the room and enter a different atmosphere that sort of encompasses the Beatles, rock, and British samba, bossa. You know, it brings those two worlds together pretty seamlessly. The music does it itself.
So they're coming to a nightclub, a sort of nightclubby feel.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And again, you know, these styles did come together, become part of our soundtrack of culture in the early 60s, around the same time. At first glance, some people might think, oh, these are two disparate genres.
From two different parts of the world.
Right. And yet, both of these styles were so influential worldwide that they also influenced each other. And you don't know that right away, but the way that we've curated the music, you can see where these styles have actually influenced each other. And it's really fun to sort of pick that apart. And we do it in a fun way where I'll actually stop and show the audience and kind of go, okay, so did you hear this part in the song? that wasn't normal in those days, for a pop band or a rock band to write music like this. But look at what happens in this Brazilian tune and listen to how you'll see the influence. And it went both ways. The Beatles also influenced the composers in Brazil as well. So it's just a really fun sort of deep dive that we do without getting too nerdy. I get a little nerdy, can't help it.
We keep it contained.
We keep it contained, but Lou and I are both music nerds at the end of the day. We love music and like to share these aspects of the music with the audience. So I did the show, a version of the show, a solo version of the show at the Elliott Museum in Stewart. And afterwards, one of the docents said to me, "Oh, it was so great," and everybody left with a smile on their face, and it was so interesting. It was like music and education, and I hadn't thought of it that way. And at first, I was like, "Uh-oh, wait a minute! I don't want to bore people. I don't want to, And he said, "No. It was great how you presented it." So
well, you mentioned a TED Talk, and TED Talks are very interesting.
Right. We hopefully present it in a way that does keep it intimate, personal, and we do that as well. I mean, my experience from being around at that time, I was very, very young, Oscar. But
in diapers.
Well, not quite. But my father called me into the living room one night in February 1964. I was playing with my army men in the back of the house, and I thought I was in trouble because he commanded me, "Come here." I thought, "Oh, what did I do?" Thought I was caught for something that I wasn't aware of. And I walked in the living room, and there the family was gathered around our little black and white Philco with the rabbit ears, and these four guys in cool-looking suits and long hair with cool-looking instruments were just having the time of their lives. And it was just such a cultural explosion, as those who were there remember. And I was trying to explain to Lou, like, there's nothing to compare it to.
There's no question that both the Beatles and Brazilian music had a big impact on American culture. So you had a lot of material to choose from for this production.
That's right, and both genres have a wonderful sophistication about them. I mean, the Beatles, even we're doing, what were we doing? She Loves You yesterday.
She Loves You, yeah.
A song I'd never played.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That was awesome.
Brilliant.
I'd never played it, believe it or not. No, that's not true. I did it a long, long time ago. I did a demo of it with some friends for some project. But it had been a long time, and I kind of just played it in the studio off a chart. But yesterday, we sort of, really dug into it, and I realized these guys, would sound like She Loves You, yeah, just this poppy sort of thing. And then started to look at what was going on harmonically and went, he's singing the minor sixth over the four. He went to a sub-dominant minor sixth.
I think what you're calling upon is sort of the glue between these two genres, which is the accessible sophistication of both of them. For an intellectual ear, for a musician, you hear it and you experience a new change and choice each time, because they are always and constantly making choices that subvert your expectations. Same with Brazilian music, and
Absolutely.
They both do it in a way that if you didn't know, you would still love it.
Right, there's a sublime nature to the sophistication of both of these genres that affect us emotionally when we hear it. You don't have to intellectually break it down, but when we do, in a fun way, and you sort of, present to people, that feeling that you get, this is why.
Again, we're talking about Beatles and Bossa. That will be at Riverside Theatre September 25th and October 9th. How did you select what journey the people will be going through? How did you select the songs?
The songs?
You talk about it being a journey. You're telling a story. Like every story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. how did you select the pieces that tell you that take you on that journey, that tell that story?
Yeah, we talked about that quite a bit. There's even a note that Lou made somewhere in the middle of us rambling, my rambling, I guess, which was, do we do this chronologically? Mm-hmm. And we kind of did, but ultimately the songs have to be curated in a way that they make sense musically too. You know, your ear has to rest, you know, and be surprised. And so ultimately the ear is the judge of how these songs come together. It's more that than it is a story, so to speak. Mm-hmm. There are stories throughout, and the stories are really introductions to the songs. It's not really a beginning, middle, and end in the sense of it being that. It really is just a journey of experience, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have moments where you get to learn more about the Beatles music itself, the Brazilian music itself, the connections between the two, stories about Manny, stories about me being exposed to this music years after it was released.
Yeah, the experience for me was just because it was in real time, mm-hmm. As it was happening. Mm-hmm. And again, for the people that remember that, it's such a fun sort of journey to go back and re-experience.
Well, it's interesting what Lou had said. You lived it. You were going through it, and she is now learning from the music what people were going through. Right. So it's going to be a great evening of music and learning and experiencing, whether you live through it or not.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's part of the. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, it goes to show the sort of the timelessness of and accessibility of the music. I started becoming more intimate with the Beatles music less than a year ago, and it entranced me, so to speak. Mm-hmm. It's beautiful, really.
It is, and it's fun how this actually just occurred to me in this very moment that we actually embody, the two of us, that concept, or that aspect, I should say, of the show, which is there are those of us who remembered and experienced it, and so for us it's nostalgic to a degree, excuse me, and then those of us who are hearing it for the first time or learning it, mm-hmm. and we both are able to share our personal stories about that, mm-hmm. about the experience of when it first happened and the discovery of it after the fact.
And how music connects people, no matter what age or what experience you've had, it connects you together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, music is I've always said music is a language that you learn, for us as musicians, learn to read and write, mm-hmm. and speak through our instruments. But it affects everyone because it's universal, because there are no words. It's
of the body.
Right. Yeah. It's an aesthetic reaction that is powerful when it's right. And these two genres are just rife with this sort of sublime power, mm-hmm. to move a person's soul and have them experience that feeling without even knowing why.
Mm-hmm. And I want to make sure, because I know someone asked me, are they doing Beatles music in a bossa beat?
Good question. Very good question. The answer is absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
No.
You're enjoying the music as it was originally written.
That's right.
Yes.
They're faithful renditions of the Beatles music. There are a couple of moments. Well, I was just going to mention Eleanor Rigby, but I don't think we wrote it into the show.
I don't think we did.
That was one because we don't have a string quartet that we're carrying with us. Mm. So I arranged it for guitar in a way that is a little different from the original, obviously. Mm-hmm. But mostly, and there are a couple of things here and there, we've added harmony very, very judiciously. We'll add some harmonies, or we'll do something here or there. But my feeling about that is you had four geniuses in the greatest studio in the world, with the best producer in the world, with all of the resources in the world, to figure out what was the best way to present these songs. I think they figured it out.
I figured it out.
You
If
know?
it ain't broke, don't
There's-
fix it.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot. I think that
You're
somebody's
not
going to come
make
to.
it better in any way.
No, you can make it different, make it your own, and I respect
Yeah.
that when people do that. But ultimately, I'm such a fan. I want to, you know, I want to honor what it is that they did.
It's meant as a modicum of respect and to also elucidate a story of culture and provide an experience. You know, have a fun night where you
Right.
just get to leave whatever you brought to the door at the door and enter into this space and let it take you where it will go.
Yeah.
And it's more than just you and Lou on a stage.
That's right. That's right. So I'm bringing some of my guys down from New York. This is a tough call in terms of who do you hire, you know, to play in this band. Who really knows how to play both genres? Not a whole lot of people. A lot of musicians say, "Oh no, I love Brazilian music. I play Brazilian music." And again, music is a language. And unless you learn that language, I mean really learn it, then you're not going to really provide the right representation of what the music is meant to be. And so I'm very fortunate to have been able to get the guys that I needed for this. And they're two old buddies of mine from New York. Both are just exceptional musicians and really good friends. And we have a Brazilian jazz quartet that we played with together in New York. And we played festivals and just done a lot of things together over the past 30 years. And so it's family, you know. And Lou's heard me say this. If you want to know if a band is any good or not, watch them off stage.
Okay.
Do they crack each other up?
Right.
Do they finish each other's sentences? Do they mind meld?
Are they a
This-
family?
We and Lou is Lou and I were just really lucky to have you know
Meshed.
to have met and get this opportunity to work together, live in the same town, because we have that in a strange in a almost frightening way.
It's seldom to find somebody who you have sort of a energetic connection with, like true friends, you know. It's fun. More than anything. It's
Well, it's going to be an incredible evening. Beatles in Bossa, September 25th and October 9th. Now, let me just delve a little further back in history.
Yes, sir.
How did you, Manny, and how did you, Lou, get involved? Where did your passion for music come from? Did you have family members that encouraged you? How did you know that this is what you wanted to do in life?
I personally knew, I think when I was 4 years old, that I wanted to be a performer or singer in some fashion. I remember going to preschool and sitting in my car seat in the back seat and listening to the radio and singing along and saying to my mom, "Mommy, I sound just like her." And it followed me my whole life, whether I liked it or not. I truly didn't pursue it actively, but it came with me. I did choir for 10 years throughout my life and had so many wonderful opportunities that I was able to travel and perform in amazing places. And then in college, I also I got to perform in Carnegie Hall and the Mormon Tabernacle in Salt Lake City, Utah. It was
beautiful.
Truly wonderful. And then in college, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I met some people and I took some classes, and suddenly the light went off, and I the coin dropped, and I realized I couldn't do anything else. It had followed me my whole life. It was what I loved. It was in my blood. That's as much as I can say about that, I guess. Yeah, I did a cappella in college and theater throughout my life, and it's just, it fuels me.
It's a passion that you need to continue to perpetuate.
Yes,
You have to continue to do what you're passionate about.
Yeah, I tell other people I need a hobby because this is definitely not that.
And you, senor?
So my dad was a musician. His dad was a musician.
Okay.
Neither of them did it exclusively for a living. My grandfather was a tailor, but he was a band leader and composer and performed quite a bit. My father never really did perform in Brazil.
In Brazil.
In northern Brazil, in Belém, a port town at the mouth of the Amazon. It was the capital of the state of Pará in northern Brazil. And my father went to conservatory for 7 years. So my father played piano and violin and flute.
Wow.
And but he never worked as a musician. He pursued another avenue in that way. So, but for me, my father took home movies of me following him conducting. He listened to classical music and opera, and he was conducting, and I started following and doing what he was doing, and he shot it, and I remember seeing it many years later after having studied orchestral conducting at Juilliard, and I went, that's my beat. I just have the same, basically I still recognize it. So, I guess it's some kind of genetic thing that happens, it's passed down. But I wanted to be an astronaut. I didn't want to be a musician. That was not my goal. But I always played, once the Beatles exploded, my brother prevailed upon my father to get him a guitar. So he got this electric Silvertone guitar, double cutaway, aquamarine, white pickguard, lipstick pickup, rosewood neck, beautiful, cool thing. And I instantly, my brother's 7 years older than me, so he was 15. I was 8, and I was like, where's mine?
Yeah.
And my dad was like, okay. So he comes home the next day with this little plastic white ukulele with pink plastic strings on it. I was like, what do you want me to do with this? It doesn't even work. I expected to be able to just play it, And he took it from me and tuned it up and played Twinkle Twinkle Little Star on it with a beautiful tone, and I went, oh,
okay,
huh. So, but every time my brother left the house, I dove right into that case and took out that guitar. So that's how it started. I always played. My dad actually around that time brought up phenomenal guitar player, classical guitar player, a young sort of, genius, savant from Belém, to try to get him on the Ed Sullivan Show. That was his goal. And he lived, this guy, his name is Sebastião Tapajós, and he lived in our basement for a while, and he just constantly played and practiced. And one day when my brother was out of the house, by then he had gotten these chord books, with diagrams, so I was able to figure out chords. But I wanted this guy to teach me something. I'm like, I got him in the house, let's see what I can get from him. So I took the guitar and the chord book down and picked one of the songs that kind of sounded like what he played because it had this sort of arpeggio beginning to it. It was House of the Rising Sun.
Wow.
And that intro to it sounded a little bit like what Sebastián played, the arpeggio kind of thing. And so he gave me my first guitar lesson when I was 8 years old. And I just always played. But it wasn't until I was 15 that I was in a band in school. I was sort of recruited by the local guys. And we played a party. And at the end of it, the drummer came over and he handed me $7. I said, what's this? He said, we passed the hat. That's your cut.
Oh, wow.
And I went, you can make money doing this?
Wow. Surprise.
And so it took about 3 days. There went the astronaut and pilot, idea. Because I thought it would be a while before I was going to make any money flying a plane or going to space. But here I was already making money. So that was the decision when I was 15 to go
And we're
ahead.
all the better for it.
Well, that's great.
We have to spend another podcast to really talk about all the incredible opportunities that you've had with regards to Broadway shows and the people you've performed with, and I know a little more with Lou's history. But our audiences, longtime audiences at Riverside, have heard you in the pit many times. Do you remember the first show that?
The very first show I played was Chorus Line.
2016. Yeah, that's the first time.
Yeah.
So many of our audiences have heard you, if not actually seen you going into the pit and then coming back out. So we're excited to actually be able to see you on stage, front row center, you and Lou and your other compatriots there.
I'm so looking forward to it. I've been
Beatles
up there
Bossa.
a couple of times with Smokey Joe's and Beehive. There were a few times that
where the band was on stage.
The band was on stage, but yeah.
So Beatles and Bossa, September 25th, October 9th. Quick appeal to the people to come. What are they going to take away from an evening with Beatles and Bossa?
You know, Oscar, I hope what anyone would take away from any show we do would be joy. To just leave feeling happy that they took the time.
Music uplifts the soul.
Yes, that's really what, and you know, maybe somewhat informed about, hey, wow, who knew? Well, another thing that happened at that show that I did, the solo show, was I asked people, so you're all Beatles fans? Yay! I said, so, and you're all Brazilian fans? Crickets. And I went, wait, what? You came just for the Beatles? You don't know Brazilian? And you know, all these heads shaking like no. And I went, I bet you do.
I bet you do.
And over the course of the evening, I'd finish a tune like Girl from Ipanema or Mais Que Nada, or, you know, one tune after throughout the evening. Did you know that one? Oh yeah, we knew that one.
Okay.
So hopefully they'll realize that Brazilian music has also been a greater influence in the soundtrack of their lives as well than they even realize.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you both for coming in today. I know you have a busy day with other promotional activities. So we're very thrilled to have Beatles and Bossa here at Riverside Theatre on September 25th and October 9th. 2 performances each of those days. Go to riversidetheatre.com to get your tickets. Again, Manny and Lou, thank you for coming in. I want to thank our John Moses, our executive producer and COO, and Alan Cornell, our artistic director, for their leadership and vision. And of course, thank you for listening. And until next time, I'm Oscar Sales.